What's up, guys? Today we're going to be chatting about Drugstore and affordable makeup under $10 that is giving me all the spring feels. So I have some new stuff, some old stuff, and if you're new here and you like Drugstore and affordable makeup, be sure to hit the subscribe button before you go, and let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in, and you guys, this was such a hard video to plan. I had all of these products in my head that I was going to talk about today, and as I was looking them up, I realized that most of them were not under $10, and I kind of could have sworn they were at one point. So I don't know if I was just mistaken or if, you know, the increases keep happening with the prices. So it was a little bit of a shock, to be honest with you. So I feel like these days it's getting harder and harder to make videos like this talking about products under 10. But that being said, I do have a lot of products here that are really good that honestly could be high-end products. So let's start out with the first one, which is from Lottie London. This is the Illuminating Coconut Primer. So this is really, really similar to a product like the e.l.f. Halo Glow or the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion, both of which are, I think the L'Oreal's like $12 and the e.l.f. is $14. So this one is under 10 and it is a beautiful glowy primer. So packaging wise, it does remind me of the L'Oreal because it comes in a squeeze tube. I actually like it a little bit better than the doe foot applicator that the e.l.f. has. It's just not quite as messy. And the product itself has this really beautiful golden pearlescent glow. It's not shimmery or glittery in the slightest bit. It just really gives your skin that little bit of illumination. It's not intense enough that it's going to completely show through a full coverage foundation. But if you're wearing something that's sheer, like a tinted moisturizer, I would say all the way up to medium, you're still going to get a little bit of the glow from this peeking through. It does have a little bit of a coconut scent, but it's nothing overpowering like the Physicians Formula butter products that have that really strong coconut smell. I barely notice the smell at all as I'm putting this on my skin, and it just has a really soft texture, very similar to a moisturizer. So it's very hydrating. My dry skin absolutely loves it. So I think it's probably suited best for dry to normal skin, but it's not super oily either. So I think if you have more oily or combination skin, it might still be okay. I don't find it to be overly greasy. So if you've been wanting to try one of the glowy primers, but you don't want to spend 12 or 14 bucks, this one is a lot more affordable. I got mine at Walmart and I think it's a beautiful primer. Also from Walmart, I got this Super Serum Foundation from Relove. I have a whole video on Relove, so if you want to check that out, I'll go ahead and link it down below. But this was their Super Serum Foundation, and the first time I tried this in the video, I wasn't super impressed with it. I think because I put a primer underneath also from Relove, and that primer in particular, it didn't work with any other foundation that I tried it with, and it just made them look kind of patchy and cakey. So then I was like, you know what? It was probably the primer. Let me try this again. And it is so, so nice. I can't believe, honestly, how much coverage you can get out of a serum foundation when it comes to this. It really surprised the heck out of me. I'm wearing the shade F2, which I also think is a pretty good match for my skin tone. It has a little bit of that cooler, pinker undertone, just like I have. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting to get this great of a color match in a $3 foundation. So I was really pleasantly surprised with that. And even though this is a serum foundation, I would say it gives solid light to medium coverage, almost more toward the medium side. And I think you could build it up to a solid medium if you add a little bit more in certain areas. I also like that it has a really satiny skin-like finish. It's not overly glowy. It's also not a matte foundation. It's really just somewhere right in the middle, and it looks just like skin. So this is the type of foundation that I really tend to love. And I'm so glad that I gave this one another try because, like I said, when I talked about it in my Relove video that I did a few weeks ago, so many of you guys were down in the comments telling me that you love this foundation. So that's really what made me decide to give it another try, and I'm so glad I did. To be honest, I like it better without primer than with primer. I did wear it on top of the Lottie London primer today, but because this feels more like a moisturizer, it doesn't have like that silicone-y primer type of feel, it worked out fine on top of this. But I haven't really liked how this looks on any type of silicone stuff, and I think that's just because these serum-like foundations tend to work better if they can sink into your skin rather than sitting on top. So anyway, I think this one is definitely worth checking out at $3. You honestly can't go wrong. I also have a couple palettes that I wanted to share with you. The first one is from Lottie London, and this week being St. Patrick's Day, it's a perfect time to talk about a green palette. So this one's called Totally Mint, and I think they released this one around Valentine's Valentine's Day, so it's a relatively new palette. It's actually the one that I'm wearing in the video today. And this is the first Lottie London palette that I've tried, and I really enjoy it. And it reminds me a lot of the Huda Beauty Mint Obsessions or Pastel Obsessions. I can't remember what the name of it was, but she did have one that looked very similar to this. And I felt like that one was just so hard to pick up, especially the shimmer shades. They would always get hard pan. And this one, the shimmers pick up so super easily, and the mattes are really soft and blendable as well. So let me just show you guys a close-up and some swatches really quick. So in this one, you do have a couple of neutrals. You have the gold and that pretty terracotta shade, and then you also have the minty green and turquoise shades as well. So it's just a really beautiful color story heading into the springtime. I love the softness of the shadows. I wouldn't say the mattes are like overly pigmented, but they're just soft and buildable, which I like because I'm not always the best at blending eyeshadows, so I find that it's easier to work with buildable shadows. And like I said before, the shimmer shades do pick up really, really easily. They don't get hard pan, and none of these are toppers, so they all have more of a creamy feel. The only thing is they do have some fallout. They're a little bit on the powdery side, so I like to apply them on top of the NYX glitter primer, or you can take like a setting spray. I have the Milani Make It Last, and just spray your brush first and wet them, and they just grip to your eyes a lot better. So it's just something that I feel like you kind of have to work with it a little bit, but I honestly don't mind at all. It's really not that big of a deal to me. So let me show you guys just quickly how I got the look that I'm wearing today. I started out with the beige matte shade down in the bottom in the middle, and I just applied this all over my lid from lash line to brows, just basically to set my eyeshadow primer. And then I dipped into that mid-tone matte terracotta shade, and I applied that right into my crease and just blended that all over the crease area. And by the way, in keeping with the affordable theme of the video, I'm using Profusion eyeshadow brushes today. These are some of my favorite eye brushes, and they're so affordable. Most of them are under $5. They're so fluffy and soft, and they blend eyeshadow beautifully, so these are amazing. Next, I'm just applying a little bit of the NYX glitter primer to my lid because I really feel like this helps eyeshadows grip. Even if they're shadows without fallout, I still love to use the NYX primer because it's very sticky and it helps shimmer shades to just really pop and come alive on your eyes. So I use this no matter what. So after that, I just picked up the gold shimmer shade from the palette, and I'm just patting this all over my lid, starting in the middle and then working my way toward the outer corner. Then I'm picking up the lightest mint green shade in the palette, also with my fingers, and I'm applying this one starting in the inner corner of my eye and working back toward the gold and just kind of blending the two together. These just create such a soft wash of shimmer to your eyes, and they're not going to create any looks that are bold or heavy. This palette is definitely more on the softer side with all of the pastels, but I love it. Again, going into the springtime, I tend to not wear really heavy eyeshadows, and I think the final look came out so beautiful. I'm normally a neutral lover for the most part, but I love being able to wear a little bit of color without going too crazy or too overboard, so I can definitely see myself wearing this look over and over again. Next up, I have two new palettes from Essence. These are little mini palettes. I think they're $4.99. I have Don't Stop Believin' In and Don't Worry Be. So these have 6 shades all together. You have 4 regular shades, and then you have 1 split pan right here on the side. And Don't Worry Be is a mostly cool toned kind of taupey gray color story. You do have a warmer gold in the palette, but I think everything else is more of that gray, silver, cool tone brown. And even though Essence can be very hit or miss when it comes to their eyeshadows, I really like the formula of this one a lot. It feels very similar to their other little mini 6-pan eyeshadow palettes that I really love. And I love the range of colors in this palette too, because you have the matte ivory shade, then you have a mid-tone matte, and then a deeper matte, and then 3 shimmers. So you can definitely create a couple of different looks with this palette. It's not just a one-trick pony. And then Don't Stop Believin' In has more of a rosy pink type of a color story. The pinks are a little bit more on the cooler tone side versus warm pinks. And you have everything from light dusty pinks to a rosy taupe shade to more of a deeper berry shimmer shade. And again, the formula on this one feels just like the other one. I think the shimmer shades have nice pigmentation. They pick up really easily, and the mattes have great pigmentation as well. So I think heading into the spring, it's going to be vacation season soon. I'm definitely going to be packing these in my makeup bag for travel. They're not going to take up any space, and I love the cardboard packaging because they're a little bit more durable than some that come in the plastic cases. So I'm definitely excited for these. Next up, I have some cheek products that I wanted to talk about. The first one's from LA Colors, and I got this at the Dollar Tree a few weeks back. I saw it when I was there getting something else, and it's their powder powder blush in the shade Sweet Cheeks. So I've heard a lot of people compare this to the Rosy Glow blush from Dior, and while I do think it is a similar color, this one is way, way, way more pigmented than the Dior. The Dior one is a little bit more difficult to pick up. It's very sheer going on. This one packs a definite punch, but it is such a beautiful, happy color for spring, and it gives you that same bright, cool tone pink like the Dior, but I find that with this one, I don't have to keep layering it up on my cheeks like I do with the Dior. So if you're somebody like me who has more of a fair to light skin tone, just be careful with this one. You can definitely go overboard really easily, but I think this is great for those of you who might have a more medium to deep skin tone who can't really wear the Dior because it just doesn't show up on you. I feel like this one might because it's very, very pigmented. So this was a fun little $1 gem that I found at the dollar store. I also wanted to talk about the ombre blushes from Moira. Again, I haven't talked about these in a while, but I usually tend to reach for them in the spring because they just have the most beautiful patterns stamped onto them. It looks like a garden with butterflies and flowers. It's so beautiful, and these colors are just to die for. Again, these are very pigmented blushes as well, so just be careful if you have a lighter skin tone, but the shades that I have are on the lighter side. They do have some deeper options as well, which I haven't gotten yet because I'm just kind of worried that they might be a little bit too much for me, but these just have the nicest, silkiest formula. They blend so beautifully on your cheeks. They have a really velvety feel to them, and they honestly just feel like a high-end blush for under $10. I also have a coupon code with Moira to save 15% off if you're interested, so that'll bring the price down even more, but these are just such an awesome blush formula. Today I'm wearing the shade Mellow Pink, so I'll just show you me applying that really quickly. Even though it's called Mellow Pink, it's more of a peachy shade, and what I like about these two is the pan size is so huge that you can dip into the lighter side on the top of the pan or down in the deeper side on the bottom, or you can just swirl it all together, so they're really customizable. If you have a really light skin tone and you don't want to go too dark, you can kind of stay towards the top of the palette, or if you have a deeper skin tone, you can work more towards the bottom. I tend to just swirl it like right in the middle and grab both shades, but I like how you can play with those a little bit. I also wanted to mention the Milani Cheek Kiss Liquid Blushes. So many people talked about these when they first came out, and I haven't really heard much about them since, even though liquid blushes have gotten even more popular since these launched. I almost feel like they launched early, right at the beginning of the cream and liquid blush craze, and now it seems like everybody's coming out with liquid blushes these days, especially ones that look like the Charlotte Tilbury ones with the little sponge tip applicator. But these are so good and they don't get enough hype. So I have a couple of different colors, and I like that these come in little squeeze tubes. It's not quite as messy as those sponge tip applicators, and I really enjoy the formula of these so much. They almost have a cream gel-like texture, and when you blend them onto your skin, they don't stay sticky. They dry down almost immediately right after you're done blending. I think they give you just the right amount of time to set down before they blend, and then if you want to build up the color, they build upon themselves really well without disturbing the layer underneath or picking it up. So I think these are such an awesome liquid blush at under $10. You really can't go wrong with them. They remind me a little bit of the Glossier Cloud Paints, but at a much more affordable price. For bronzer, I've been loving the LA Colors bronzer. I have it in the shade Beachy, which has the perfect reddish undertone for my skin. I love more of a red undertone when it comes to bronzer. It just looks so natural. If I were to go out in the sun and get a natural tan, my skin would turn a little bit more of a reddish color. Maybe it's because of my pink undertone, or maybe it's because I tend to kind of burn and then tan, but whatever it is, this just looks exactly like that color that I turn in the summertime. But if you happen to have a different undertone than I do, they have a lot of different colors to choose from. I got mine at Dollar General, but they also have them on the LA Colors website. I think they're like $5. So it's a super affordable bronzer, and the pan size that it comes in is humongous. So you can use it even for body bronzing if you want to. It's gonna last you such a long time, and the formula is beautiful. It's very blendable. It doesn't get muddy. And even though it can look a little bit deeper in the pan, this is a very buildable bronzer. So you can go in kind of slow with it and build it up to the desired color result that you want. So I love this bronzer. And by the way, if you were wondering what brush I was applying the bronzer with, It's from Lottie London. I actually have a couple of face brushes that I got again from Walmart. These are all under $10, which I think is really great, especially because, you know, it's kind of easy to find eyeshadow brushes under 10, but when it comes to face brushes, they're normally a little bit more expensive. And I like these so much. They actually have a really nice feel to the handles. They have a beautiful ombre effect. They kind of go from brown to pink, and they're incredibly soft. I have a flat top buffer brush, which I use to apply my foundation today. Then also there's a bronzer brush and one that's an all-purpose powder brush that I used for blush. And I was just really impressed with these. They actually look a lot like the new brushes from Persona, the ones that are double-ended. So I definitely wanted to mention these in the video as well. Moving on, I got this new highlighter from JCat. This is called the You Glow Girl Baked Highlighter, and I have it in the shade Crimson Gleam. They do have a couple of different shades on the Ulta website, and I love this packaging. It's in the shape of a little flower, which is so cute. And this is a baked formula, which means it starts out as a cream, and then it's baked, so it still retains all of the properties of the cream, and usually baked products are incredibly smooth and really forgiving on drier, more mature skin types. Another great thing about baked formulas is that you can also use them wet and it's not going to ruin the product. So you can wet your brush before you pick up the product and get a really super intense glow and gleam. I'm wearing this one in the video today, and even applying it dry, I think it still makes a huge impact. It really pops on your skin. And I love this pink color too, because you can use it sort of as a blush topper to add a little bit more color and glow at the same time. It does have the potential to highlight your skin's texture a little bit more. I think that's kind of just the nature of this type of highlighter, but if you don't mind that, it gives your cheeks the most beautiful glow. Next, I also have a couple of lip products that I wanted to talk about. The first one is the NYX Fat Oil Lip Drip. So please let me know if you guys are getting tired of me talking about these, because I know, like, I've mentioned them several times in recent videos, but I did get a couple new colors, which I wanted to show you and kind of update my swatches, because before I only had 3 shades and now I have 6. So I figured I would show you guys the new colors along with the other ones that I have. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. We'll take a look at them up close. So these are the 6 shades that I have. They come in these cute little chunky tubes with like a neon green cap. And then inside you have a huge doe foot applicator that looks a lot like the Dior lip oils. Very, very similar, almost identical. And it feels the same when you're applying them to your lips as well. And when I first got these, I thought that they were going to be very sheer, but they actually pack a little bit of punch as far as color goes. I think even the lighter colors show up on your lips pretty well. So let's go ahead into the lip swatches and I'll show you what they look like on. So what I love about these is how thick and cushiony they are. And I know some of you guys are probably thinking, oh, I hate thick lip products. If you do, if you like that more thin lip oil that sinks into your lips, you're probably not going to enjoy these. But if you like more of that thicker lip gloss feel that almost kind of like hugs your lips, it just feels ever so slightly tacky when you press your lips together. It's not super sticky, but they're just incredibly hydrating, almost like a liquid lip balm versus a lip oil. They have a fruity scent. I want to say they kind of smell like strawberries, but once they're actually on my lips, I don't smell them anymore at all. So it's not a super strong fragrance, but my lips, just like my skin, are very, very dry. So I'm always looking for something that is going to really hydrate. And these are one of the more hydrating lip products that I've ever tried. So I've been pretty much wearing these every day and I can't see myself stopping anytime soon. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy them into the spring and summer and beyond. So these are amazing. Another lip product I've been enjoying recently are these Maybelline Green Edition Balmy Lip Blushes. So these aren't new. They've been out for a while and I've seen them in stores and I just never really bothered to try them. But recently I picked up 3 of them at Target and these are so nice. They kind of remind me a little bit of the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lips. They're not quite as glossy as those, but they have that very melty texture. As soon as you put these on, they just kind of melt in. They're not waxy like a traditional lipstick. They have that melty, balmy feel, but they're way more pigmented than a lip balm. They're more like a lipstick in that way. And actually, they also remind me of the new Flower Beauty Lip Plump gloss sticks. Those again are similar to the Tarte ones, but those have like a plumping effect and these don't. So if you didn't like the Flower Beauty ones because they have the tingle, these don't, and they're also a few dollars cheaper. So let me show you the colors that I have up close. I basically just got neutrals, but I did see a couple of brighter shades as well. They even had like a bright orange one that I'm kind of curious to see how it's gonna look on my lips. But I just grabbed 3 shades that I feel like would be very wearable for me for every day. And these also have a very slight scent to them. It's not overly strong, but it's almost like a citrusy type of smell. It's not really something that I've smelled in a lip product before, but I like it. It's very pleasant. It's not overpowering, but it's just something that I wanted to mention in case you're sensitive to fragrances. So let me show you guys quickly what all of these look like on my lips as well. Like I mentioned before, these are very pigmented. They're kind of like a lipstick level of pigment with a balm-like feel. So these are not going to be transfer proof. They are going to come off on cups, utensils. It's really just the nature of these more emollient type of lip products. But because my lips are so dry, I usually prioritize comfort over longevity, and I just kind of have to deal with reapplying them throughout the day. But also I would recommend wearing a lip liner or a clear lip liner around them if you have issues with lipsticks bleeding and things like that, because again, these are more on the balmy side, so they might not completely stay put on your lips. And generally, if I'm wearing something like the NYX gloss, this is sheer enough. If it does migrate outside my lip line, you don't really notice as much. But with something like this, especially the deeper colors, I think you'll notice if it starts to creep outside your lip line. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, but I just enjoy how soft and comfortable these are to wear. So anyway, guys, that's all I have for today's video. If you'd like to see more finds under 10, I can definitely put another one of these together. I also do have some previous videos that I've done talking about favorites under $10. So if you want to check that out, I'll go ahead and put my playlist right here for you guys to watch next. I want to thank you all so much for spending part of your day here with me. I really appreciate it so much. And if you're new here, again, and you like drugstore makeup, affordable makeup, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.